and I know it is late. I just finished watching Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I wanted to come on here. Normally, I do not come on this late because it is like 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time. But I was sitting there, I watched it, instead of recording it, I just waited to watch Love and Marriage Huntsville again, and I just took notes from that point. Um, we've been out all day today enjoying this beautiful sunny day in North Carolina. They are giving a art festival over at Freedom Park, so we went to that. It was so the artwork was amazing. The jewelry was to die for. If you ever go to the art festival in Charlotte, North Carolina, you're going to need at least between you need to at least have $500, literally, if you want to buy things. If you are a low budget person the way we are, then 100 will be good, okay? And the funnel cake, I had to imagine what it tastes like, and in fact, it's still in the kitchen on the counter. I couldn't even eat it. I still don't have my taste back, you guys. Um, I digress. I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. Again, welcome to Vlog Media Breeze. If you look at the bottom of the screen, I have the banner going across and it's letting you know about my other channel called Vlog Spear Talk. I was supposed to go on today and talk about something that happened on the job this week because that is a workplace channel for people who have workplace challenges like I do, and also workplace solutions. And I know a few people I want to bring onto the channel, but I want to have enough people there to bring people onto the channel for. You know what I'm saying? Tonight, Love and Marriage Huntsville on the OWN network. As you all know, this is a Carlos King production. The name of this episode was called The Transparent Trap. This is season 2, episode 30. Oh my goodness, I'm going, really? I hope I didn't read that wrong. That's what was on the television screen whenever I looked at the guide part. Um, it opens up with, Mel and Martell continue their outburst, right? There's a little piece of a segment there. Then it goes on Marsau, they are all out at the basketball court. All of the men are. And this is actually where it opens up. Just right before it opened, at least on my television set, they showed a little bit of Mel and Martell continuing their outbursts from the last episode. And then it, I guess, panned or segued into the men on the basketball court shooting some ball. Marsau dispels a confidence issue about his wife, LaTisha. And as we all know, LaTisha, for the past couple of episodes, at least the past 3 or 4 episodes, has really communicated and brought home the fact that she is a confident woman. And at one point, Marceau was president when she was present, not president. Marceau was present when she talked about her confidence. So to see him now on the basketball court with the other gentleman disclosing his thoughts about her lack of confidence just because they went to therapy, that is not going to sit well when that finally gets back to her. Um, he tells them that LaTisha surprised him with a therapist visit, and Lewis is the most logical person besides Maurice. Okay, if it were not for Tiffany, I would really like for Tiffany and Lewis to be on the show because Lewis is of sound mind, even though he was a little bit two-faced a couple of episodes ago whenever he said what he was going to do to Maurice if they kept bringing up Maurice's son, as if he had the nerve to do that. But I digress. We're not talking about that anymore. But his logic here is when he's talking to Marsau about Tisha, he says that therapy might be the best way for her to express herself because sometimes people need to be in therapy to express themselves because if they are with their significant other, they are not always comfortable doing so. And I just thought that made a lot of sense. Marcel says he thought Tisha didn't want to do, he thought that Tisha, I'm sorry, let me start back. Okay. This is the result of doing a late night commentary or review. All of these daggone M's, I tell you. Maurice says to Marsau that he, that a lot of things that he and Tisha were doing in the beginning of their marriage, those things have gone by the wayside. She no longer does those things. And to me, that is growth. That means that the marriage has grown to a different point. I'm sorry. And Marceau needs to really be able to accept that. Marceau then replies and says that he thought Tisha did not want to do the things he also did not want her to do in the beginning of their marriage. And forgive me, guys. I'm going to, one moment. I have to, one moment. Okay, I'm back. Thank you so much for patiently waiting for me. I had to take care of something real quickly. So here I am back. So they start to talk about the situation between Martell and Mel. And Marceau says there has to be a certain level of respect when someone says stop. And then Martell, in his confessional, says that Marceau is not the one to be giving him advice, especially since he just said he's not open to taking advice. The other men coach Martell through his issues with Mel. They all chip in with their thought process and telling him how to best handle that. And Martell says, well, hey, look, we are still in the midst of the storm. And you know what that means to me is the fact that he has acknowledged that means they really were not ready for a divorce. Because a lot of times when people are getting divorced, and we don't have many friends who have been divorced, but I know a couple of them who have. I even know a couple who they separated for many years. She went back to her hometown and he stayed in Atlanta. And recently she passed of COVID. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, but she recently passed away. But right before she passed away, they were in the midst of getting back together. However, they had not been together for 7 years and they never divorced. Is it 7 years? What's this, 2021? No, they had not been together 10 years. They never divorced, but they had not been together. And then they were just recently thinking of reconciling. When two people meet and that love and that bond is strong enough that they get married, that's a very hard bond to break because it means that they have gone through enough that they are willing to commit the rest of their lives to each other. And I believe that Mel and Martell did that, but Martell got very comfortable in the marriage and wanted to cheat, and he thought that Mel should just accept it. He thought she should just accept it. And I do believe that she knew about it before Love and Marriage Huntsville aired. And she had not really accepted it, but she was dealing with it on a different level. And then, whenever exposure to the viewers, it all became exposed to the viewers, it became embarrassing. And it opened up her eyes to see that she didn't have to take that she was better than that. And that is what led to the divorce. And she let him know she was serious because she really is not the type of woman and you know who would think that someone would want to do that to her. I will tell you, in this episode, this Love and Marriage Huntsville brought it. Okay, they brought it in every scene. Next, after the basketball, the men all come out of the area of the basketball court and they go over towards the swimming pool where the ladies are. And Tisha has on this green swimsuit cover. It was beautiful. I like Tisha's look this season. She's giving us a variation of looks and I love it. Even her hair, she's doing different things with her hair. I'm really liking her looks. She looks beautiful. I also liked Destiny's swimsuit cover. I liked it. So Tisha, as the men are coming out, she says, "Where is Mel?" And Martell says, "I'll go look for her." Oh, guys, I don't know why Martell didn't step back to examine the possibilities of what the outcome would be for him going and looking for her. But you all, when he gets in the room, we learn that he had been knocking on her door a couple of times the night before at 1:30 in the morning. So get this. I mean, they have a breakdown. There's a huge blowout between the two of them, but it started out really calm. I want to say Mel is still hurt and her emotions are using this opportunity to get out her feelings that she has not processed. These are feelings she has not processed. I mean, for the past couple of episodes, she has brought up Chitlin Girl. I call that side piece, what's her name over there that he had the baby with? I call her Chitlin Girl because everyone, I just see, okay, chitlins are a side piece. They're a stinky bad side piece. And when you are committing adultery with a married man, you are a stinky chitlin side piece. So her name is Chitlin Girl. Okay. So Mel is still in her emotions, even from the night before. It all starts out real calm. Martell walks in and he says, "How you doing?" And he's real soft, you know, calm talking, smooth talking. "How you doing?" And it's a peaceful "how you doing." The if you pay attention, the next thing that Mel said was, "Oh Lord." She was like, "Oh Lord." And Martell just overlooks that. He says, "Everybody out there requesting you." And her next response is like, "Ooh, requesting me?" So those two tones right there let you know that she was still in her feelings. She immediately, in a calm voice, says, "Why did you come to my room last night?" And Martell at one point seems to be trying to overlook that question because he knows they are filming, right? And she asks him again, "Why did you come to my room last night?" And then she brings up the fact that he came to her room at 1:30 a.m. in the morning. He says he came to her room to apologize for what happened up on the mountain whenever they were viewing the city. In her confessional, she says, No, you did not come to my room a couple of times and at 1:30 in the morning just to apologize to me. At 1:30 in the morning, she did not open the door. So they start to go over Mel's triggers. Mel is still talking softly and calmly, and she tells him that some of the things he said the night before really trigger her because one of them is he uses the children to paint her negatively. And he responds, he's trying to understand how he does that. And she says, well, like last night when you said we have 4 children. Don't you know? Don't you think I know we have 4 children? I pushed them out. Martell really seems to be trying in this segment of this episode. He really seems to be trying because he says he does not want to argue. I really believe he wants to enjoy the trip. He's very happy that Tisha and Marsau have been so gracious as to invite him on this trip. If you remember, he made amends with them in the beginning of this season. So he wants to have a good relationship with the others in the group. At the same time, he does need to be aware of the things that trigger Mel. What do you guys think he could have done right here when she's talking to him about the things that trigger him? What could he have done to keep her from escalating? Because she escalated rather quickly. She also went on to say, the other thing that triggers me is when you talk about my career. Uh, you know, that triggered him because remember the night before he called her Beyonce, he made some other comments calling it a BS, just a whole bunch of other little snide remarks about her singing career. And she says, that he called her, she said, you make these snide remarks about my career, yet you called me to congratulate me on my song. He said, no, I didn't call you to congratulate you on that song. She said, you called me the day the song was released. He was upset. And she said, and then you were upset about not getting an invite to the release party. So there's a lot of things going on here. Okay. Mel, I do believe she is hurt as she is. She wants to move on. And she might feel like that whenever he is trying to get next to her personally or trying to involve himself in some of her personal endeavors, that keeps her from moving forward. So it could be that that she's upset about that. Suddenly, all he double hockey sticks break loose. Okay, you guys. Sorry, it's like almost 2 in the morning and I'm doing this review. So forgive my phonetics if they sound like Tishas. I probably cannot talk about Tishas phonetics tonight because mine are really off the chain. This dialogue between Mel and Martell really escalates. Martell tries to leave. As he is leaving, he's trying to leave civilly, and Mel yells out one of her emoticons about his side chick, Chitlin Girl. Martell, the next thing, there must have been a lot going on because you start to see the producers, you see the caption where the producers are trying to get Martell's attention, and Martell is screaming, "You lied." Both of them are yelling back and forth. He's saying, "You lied." I'm trying to understand what he is saying she lied about. And the producers, and then we see Marsau running in there with his belly hanging out the back. And it's just people trying to de escalate this circumstance. Then the cameras segue to the pool where Tisha and Kimmie are like, wow, whoa. And then Tisha says, look, this is why I'm staying in the pool. They are continuing the argument into the kitchen. Mel has now come out of the room and Destiny is standing in front of her. And you all remember in Mel's song, part of the lyrics, one of the sentences in the lyrics is, this could be a crime scene. So it's a good thing that Destiny is standing there. And I know it's just a song, but you guys, love and emotions and people cheating and people messing up other people's dreams about where their lives were going to go. You're in love with this man and he has cheated on you. He has made a mockery of you. He has embarrassed you. Yes. And there have been crime scenes. And the fact that the producers had to get involved, the both of them screaming back and forth, and Martell also probably feels like Melody pushing forward to the divorce messed up his life some because we see the business went bad. He's needing money. He's really itching for money. And that is that with the two of them. Martell, you need to get it together. Melody really needs to stay away from Martell and not be alone with him. I don't know if I don't know what is going on, but sometimes whenever you get people who do not take responsibility for their actions, or you get these types of characters who think it's okay for them to bully and run over you and do what they want to you, and when you bring it up to them, you're in the wrong. That's a lot of what happens between Martell and Melody's conversations. There is a pathology to Martell. Martell has a pathology. He does something, and whenever he's called on it, he denies it and he turns it right back on her. So she needs to stay away from him. I'm glad she did not open that door at 1:30 in the morning. That's a dangerous pathology. And Martell needs to go sit and be open in therapy to getting help and open to change. And he's going to have to move on with his life because Mel is determined to move on with her life. And I'm glad. I'm glad Mel is moving on. I do not want these two back together. I know the pain is very strong, it's there. But let me tell you something about Mel because they are both still harboring issues amid this divorce. And that is what Marsau said in his confessional. Mel is the type of woman whose life was unscheduled. She had planned it out. She knows she's a beautiful woman, and she knew that she could get probably any man that she wanted. And she met Martell. I believe they met in college. She fell in love with him. And this thing that he did to her, as I shared with you, it embarrassed her. It made she thinks it made a mockery of her, but she needs to know she has no reason to be embarrassed. He should be embarrassed, really, for doing this to a woman like her. But her emotions seem to be really upset about the discourse of it all because it has caused her her thought process and the direction that her life was headed in, with her children being under one roof, having their dad under the same roof, and the two of them working together in a partnership to grow the family and to make things good for their children. She had a whole plan. He effed it up. It got off track through his cheating, and she probably forgave him initially, but he kept doing it. Then there's the television show, and then I said it all before. It aired, it exposed some things, and it let her know she could no longer move in this crazy direction with him. So now what has happened is all of the expectations that she had in her life in terms of having a significant other right there with her, all of the expectations are now gone, and she is having to experience life in a way that was not expected. In a way that was not expected. You guys get down in the comments, okay? And let me know what you think about this because I see a lot of you coming in tonight or this morning. So that's what happened in this. And the reality is she's going to have to stay away from Martell, and Martell needs to stop surprising her. I don't like these surprise visits that he gives her. She does. As you look at one of my previous videos, I titled it Melody Holt Needs a Restraining Order because there is a pathology to Martell, and part of that pathology is to surprise her, like knocking on her door at 1:30 a.m. in the morning. That he's got to stop that. If they have not made arrangements for them to meet somewhere where there are other people to drop off the kids and pick up the kids, then he needs to stop. She's not your wife anymore, and I don't want her to be your wife. This, you guys, I know people may think I'm overreacting, but this is beginning to scare me. This is beginning to really scare me because he does have a pathology and it ain't good. And I know he says he's trying to be civil and perhaps he is. I think that he does not know that his actions, he's very irresponsible in his actions. I'm going to move forward. I know I have harped on that a long time. Marsau is in his confessional and he says, I don't think people realize the gravity and toll the divorce has taken on Mel and Martell. And he is exactly right. It's really taken a toll, and Martell needs to stay in his lane. He needs to go get with Chitlin girl or find him another girl to be with. He's a good looking man. He's in good shape, has beautiful legs, athletic. Um, he just needs to, when he gets the next woman, he needs to be responsible for his actions and he needs to be intentional about doing and saying the right thing. Like just walking out of that room as soon as she escalated, he should really be able to stand there and listen to her and just apologize and say, I'm going to do my best to stop triggering you. I know those are your triggers, and sometimes I do it intentionally because I'm hurt too. He needs to just go ahead and say to her, I'm hurt too. Okay. And we know in this episode, he kept at least one or two occasions saying, well, it might be me and Mel. I don't know. It's just whatever the Lord has in store. Okay. I'm going to move forward. Next, in the room, Mel tells LaTisha, though she was not surprised that Martell was there, had she really, really known he was going to be there, she would not have booked the flight. Mel, you knew he was coming. You had had a whole conversation with Destiny about it a couple of days before at Destiny's house. And you said to Destiny, no, we're not going to be the only single ones there because Martell is going to be there. And you said it very confidently and clear. So you knew he was going to be there. Maybe you forgot. I know you're the executive producer and I love you. You're my girl. But I have to call you out on this one, Mel. I know you're the executive producer and sometimes you have to build up to something. And I'm thinking that you're saying you did not know he was going to be there is what you think is part of your storyline, but really you did know. Okay, so next, Tiffany and the other gentlemen, because all the ladies, Kimmie, Destiny, and LaTisha, and Mel are all in Mel's room. And so Tiffany and the other men are in the kitchen because Tiffany and Lewis are preparing for a game that they're going to play with the other couples. And they are also getting the drinks ready. So they're getting that whole scene ready. When we finally get to the scene, the game is if you can't answer, you take a shot. That's how it starts. If you can't answer, you take a shot or a drink. All of the couples are aligned there on the sofas. Tiffany and Lewis are standing up and they start to play the game. The first question is, are your sexual needs being met? Or first of all, she says, are your needs being met? And I don't know if I can say that term here on YouTube, so I'm just going to say S. I'm sorry. Are your S needs being met? Mel says yes. Now, I don't know if she was just saying that because of Martell, but I hope she hasn't jumped in the sack with somebody this soon after her divorce. That's not good, Mel. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. And definitely don't get pregnant by the man. But she did say yes, so maybe they are. I would have just kept my mouth shut. He doesn't need to know about your intimate activities. You're trying too hard, Mel. You my girl, but you are trying too hard. Don't do this because it's making you look a certain kind of way. I really did not capture the answers to the other couples about this question, so I'll move on to question number 2, which is, how many people have you had S with in one night? Now, this is where things get a little bit outlandish because Martell, he says 2. And the first thing on my mind was, did he go get with Chitlin after he was with his wife or vice versa? Because he said 2 in one night. And it doesn't have to be a threesome, you guys, even though he could be talking about a threesome. Maurice says 6. So I want you all to get in the comments and tell me, do you believe Maurice actually had S or was intimate with 6 women in one night? They go into the confessional and Kimmie was like, was I one of those 6? Maurice says, no, it was before you. He says, I was trying to find you. I found myself in you. And this right here, I like Kimmie. I think Kimmie is a sweetheart overall. I do believe that she was the side chick. That is what I believe. On the show, they have said she was, and that's alleged. I have to say alleged because she says she was not. However, my my thought process says she was. That's my thought process. But you don't have to believe me because that's all alleged because she said she wasn't. The third question they ask, have you ever been intimate in public? Marsau says, yes, driving down the 465 or the 466 or some highway, he said. And then Tishas starts dancing and moving her hands and saying yes as well. So at least we know that it was with Tisha on that highway. Okay, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing for them, okay? Because he's another one who could end up in a crime scene if he cheats on Tisha. Tisha loves Marsau, honey. She loves Marsau. Don't mess with no Marsau, honey. Here is the question of the hour. This is the 4th one. Now, remember the game is if you cannot answer, take a shot. But in this question, Tiffany says, drink if you're happy in your current relationship. The first person I saw to take a drink was Tisha. Maurice and Kimmie both took drinks. Marsau did not drink. He sat there, and Tiffany and Lewis were looking at him. And then eventually he took a drink, but it was like, oh, 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 that's what he said. Oh, 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 and then took a drink. And we see the nonverbals on Tisha. Tisha turns her head the other way. That was very telling, and I don't believe he was joking because he's been talking about the ups and downs he's had in his marriage, and it's okay to have ups and downs in your marriage. 100% of marriages have had divorceable moments. That is very true. That is very true, you guys. 100% of marriages have had divorceable moments. But that does not mean you are not happy in your marriage. It doesn't mean you're not happy. It just means that you've had some disagreements. Things have at times reached a level where you've probably thought, you know, I should just divorce this person and keep it moving. But then you start to think about, the reality of that issue. And divorce, what it boils down to is you really don't want divorce. You just need to go shopping. At any rate, so he did not. The other person who did not take a drink, you guys, was Martell. Now, we know he's not in a relationship with Melody, right? If he is in a relationship with Chitlin, then that means he's not happy with Chitlin. Maybe he don't like chitlins as much as he thought he did. Put a little hot sauce on them and everything, but they cause all sorts of things, bad things in your blood flow and just a whole lot of things. So he needs to leave chitlin alone. She's going to give him high blood pressure and he's going to be on something to clear his blood flow. Next, LaTisha says they start talking about cheating, and I cannot recall what they were saying about cheating. Tiffany brought it up. Oh no, Marsau asked Tiffany a question about her marriage. And Marsau also, let's see. Yeah, he asked her a question about her marriage. It had something to do with cheating or something like that, and she never answered. And then I think she asked I cannot recall, you guys, but at any rate, Tisha says she never cheated, and Tisha is loyal to Marsau. She prides herself on being loyal to her husband. And I don't know why people think something's wrong with that. That is nothing to make a mockery of. You're supposed to be loyal to your spouse. Tiffany starts making fun of Tisha's loyalty, and Tisha says, I'm faithful, biatch. She said that to Tiffany. She said the actual, bitch word. I'm just saying biatch or bi. I'm going to say bi. Who is this? Oh, LaTisha tells Tiffany to stop asking questions about intimacy. And Tiffany says, well, we are celebrating 15 years, right? It's your anniversary. Tiffany, it is their anniversary. It is not your anniversary. And while we are at it, why don't you get a storyline of your own and stop trying to antagonize the other couples that you really do not know that well? Let's hear, who cheated? Like, why did you and Lewis end up married? What happened in your marriage, Tiffany? What happened in Lewis's marriage? Were you cheating with Lewis? Was he cheating with you? Why didn't we hear the phone call that you made in order to make arrangements to have your ex take care of your son while you were on this trip? And also, why didn't we hear the phone call Lewis made to have his ex take care of his son while you guys are on this trip? Why didn't we hear that? Because that would be your storyline, Tiffany. That's where you want to go. Stop trying to bring up everybody else's life. And we know at this point that Mel is feeding you information. Mel, I have to call you out. You my girl, but I got to call you out. You are feeding her information, and that is why you are so protective of her whenever people start talking crap about her not being able to read a room. Take that, okay? And that. I want Tiffany not to come back. Someone call Carlos King, tell him no. If she had her own storyline, if she was showing us something about them, because even when they were out on their lawn cutting that grass that didn't exist because there were so many bald spots there in the yard, when they were, riding around in a lawnmower acting like they were doing something, that conversation was not even about them. It was about Maurice and Kim and how Lewis wasn't going to take it too much longer if he continues to bring up the information. And I believe the producers let Maurice know that. And that's why Maurice paid him a visit to make sure they were still cool. Honey, because them Scott boys, I mean, they're nice and all, but usually you have a lot of boys. Because listen, I have some cousins. My aunt had 5 boys and 1 daughter. And when you have a lot of young men in your family, they don't play. There's a lot of them Scott boys. And I'm sure that if they needed to get physical, they could. They don't seem like the type who would do that now. But Lewis, you may want to fall back, okay? Because you ain't but 2 shots away from having a heart attack yourself with that big gut. You need to get things in order for real. Sorry, people, had to go there because I'm so sick of Tiffany. I'm so and her Kmart clothes, as another YouTuber said. Another YouTuber was like, Tiffany and her Kmart fashions. Was like, okay. I think it was Miss Misha IMO. Um. Anyway, so yes, you say they're celebrating 15 years. They are celebrating 15 years. It's not for you to tell them how to celebrate their 15 years. And because it is their 15 years, if LaTisha tells you, let's stop talking about the intimacy questions, you need to fall back. So Tisha asked the question of the other couples, what advice can you all give to help somebody else? And Maurice is an attorney. He always has all the answers. I love Maurice. Maurice answers and he says, well, to do the things you did in the beginning. I agree with that, to do the love and romantic things you did in the beginning, if those are the things you were doing. Because some people just got married and they were not doing a whole lot of romantic things in the beginning. They had to gravitate to that as they were married. So not everybody needs to do the things they were doing in the beginning. But if they were positive, romantic things that you did in the beginning, I would say keep that. But you can't do everything you did in the beginning, because at some point the marriage has to grow and has to move forward, and sometimes it has to move on. I mean, I'm not saying on to divorce, but it has to move on out of certain situations. Um, Martell's answer to Tisha on what advice would you all give to help somebody else? Martell says, take care of your mate. Now, I believe he was saying that because in hindsight, he really is feeling the brunt of the reality that he did not take care of Melody. So Melody in her confessional says there were plenty of times that she was not taken care of. She says there were plenty of times she was not taken care of. And we know that now, Melody. We know that now. But you guys remember the very first season when the show was opening up and it showed the couples in their different homes and it showed Melody and Martell. They were talking about how great a father Martell was, how he takes care of the kids and all that stuff. They were talking about her role in the home and it just almost seemed perfect. They were talking about the business, Holt and Holt. And so now this tells you guys everything. You can drive by these big, beautiful homes and see people behind them, and you don't ever know what's going on inside that home. So Marsau asked Destiny, where is her ex husband? Or what did she do that her ex husband isn't there? And Destiny lets him know real quickly she doesn't want to talk about any of that, you know? And then for some reason in Marsau's confessional, he says, if you are always going to be happy in your marriage, then where's the commitment? These Alabama men, I'm beginning to like look at them sideways. I mean, you got the pathology Martell over here, and you got the controlling Scott brothers on one end. And it's just, is Lewis seems to be the most logical one, really. And he's from Alabama, so I guess that's a good thing. Now, I get that Marsau is trying to say you need to be committed to working out your marital issues. That's what I'm believing he's saying. But we have to look at Marsau's past because he has not demonstrated that to us, at least on the show. He's too controlling. Even though I have to give it to him this season, for these past two episodes, I have seen a slight change in him with Tisha. He's being more intimate, and perhaps it's because it's their 15th year and he's being more intimate. But he's kissing her, touching her more. He's being a different kind of husband. You know. Um, I want to pause here, you guys, because during the show tonight they had a Sephora commercial, and I didn't know this, but if you go to and this is not anything paid, my channel is not monetized, but if you go to Sephora.com/black owned brands, Sephora is sponsoring black owned cosmetic businesses. So I just wanted to throw that out there and tell you guys that. So next, listen, oh my goodness, you guys, I couldn't believe this part. Oh my word. Mm-mm-mm. Next, Tisha, remember when last episode at the pool, Kimmie brought up uh the rumor about Marsau's side baby? Remember that? Well, get this. Oh, what is this? What's going on here? Okay, so I believe that Tisha had planned this because Tisha's kind of calculated, you guys. Tisha's a little calculated. I think she planned this move right here. Oh my goodness, you guys. She turns and she says to Maurice, she doesn't even address Kimmie, but she knows it's going to hit Kimmie. So this is a little bit of passive aggression. And she asked Maurice, but the target was Kimmie. Okay. She says, I just want to ask you something, Maurice. Kyle was said to us that she felt like you guys could have worked it out, but you left without even trying. What? I tell you, when she said that, I was like, Tisha is doing the daggone thing this year. This season, she is doing it. Okay. And Maurice, he did not, I know he had to be surprised that she said that, but Maurice is very good about not acting emotional. He has his feelings in check. When you ask him a question, he's going to answer it really professionally. Because any other man, if he's sitting there with his second wife and you ask him that, you say something like that to him, he might go off on you. But I like this about Maurice. And you know what? To a degree, Marsau does the same thing. Remember last year, Martell wanted to get physical with Marsau, but Marsau was in his right mind. I got to get out of here. I got like what, 8 more minutes. Oh my goodness. I need to move, move, move. Oh my goodness. Let's see how many notes. Okay, not many more. So I'm going to move on. So after she said that, honey, Kimmie didn't show any face or anything like that. But in her confessional, she said, I wonder what is going on through Tish's mind to ask this question. And I'm sitting right there and she's doing it in front of everybody. And then she wants to know if they would still be together. Tisha takes it that question. She asks a second part. She says, do you believe it could have worked had you stayed? Oh, child. You know what? Did they? I don't believe they showed this in the previews last week. So Maurice, just professionally pretty much said that he knew it was over. That's why he left. He says sometimes you just know when it's over. Yeah, Maurice, you left Kiowa and went straight to Kimmie, who was waiting for you in Huntsville. That's what happened. You were already seeing Kimmie and you knew it, allegedly. But Tisha was getting back at Kimmie. Honey, you can't go in on Tisha. LaTisha, you can't go in on LaTisha Scott about her man. Honey, she fired back. This was fire. And her target was Kimmie. Mm, child. I digress. Tisha and Marsau are in their room and they're talking about Marsau is really bothered by this debate because this is their 15th year anniversary trip. They've invited their friends and Melody and Martell have really just had some outbursts that Marsau doesn't like. So Marsau says we can't be responsible for their behavior and how they act as adults. See, this kind of thinking I like about Marsau. I like this. And Tisha says she doesn't know what to do anymore about their situation. Okay, so next they show Tiffany and Lewis in their room. I'm going to skip this scene because the whole thing is he's sharing information with Tiffany that Tiffany will later bring up at ladies' night, as we will see. As I said before, Tiffany, stop bringing up everybody else's mess. Let's talk about yours. You and your ex-husband. Let's see some dialogue between you and your ex-husband and Lewis and his ex-wife. Let's see how you have co-parented with his ex-wife and how he co-parents with your ex-husband. Let's see all of that work. Let's see, that's your storyline, honey. Either do that or get the HE double hockey sticks on, leave, because I really, Tiffany, I don't like you. I do not like you. And I don't like the idea that Mel is feeding you information and you're bringing up all these ladies' past and information that you have on them and they don't have nothing on you. I need Destiny. I'm going to need you to get on the investigations, honey. Next season, if Tiffany is here, you're going to need to bring it, okay? You're going to need to read her down. She can't read a room, but you're going to need to read her. That's what I'm going to need you to do, Destiny. And LaTisha, you see what LaTisha did tonight, honey? Don't sleep on LaTisha. Honey, do not sleep on LaTisha, okay? So now it's ladies' night. The ladies are dressed up. They're going out on the town in Las Vegas, and they are all dressed beautifully except Tiffany. She has on yet another Walmart or Kmart. I'm not even going to say Walmart because I like some of the clothes in Walmart. She has on a Kmart outfit or Goodwill store. Okay. So they're all taking shots. They're getting out. They get out of uh the escort vehicle and they go into the club and they're sitting down around the table taking shots, and Tiffany says it's been fun hanging out with you guys and meeting new friends and getting to know all of you all. And then Tisha pays her a compliment. LaTisha says, you're fun too, it's been nice getting to know you. And then Mel supports LaTisha's statement. Mel is feeding information to Tiffany, you guys. In Destiny's confessional, though, Destiny says Tiffany has not really done anything fun to her. She hasn't done anything to change her first impression of her. She just thinks she's like a Karen. And the producer said, "Did you just call Tiffany a Karen?" And Destiny's like, "Yeah, okay." So next, um, okay, what's next here? Okay, let's see here. Da 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 da. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and dig into this because it's getting late and I need to be off here. I didn't even intend to stay this long. Um, why don't you write a comment? Okay, you keep showing up. Write a comment. So let's see here. Okay, here we go. Tiffany, let's see. Oh, they're talking about surprises, right? Tisha tells the ladies that their next event or the next plan that she has, she doesn't want to tell them because it's a surprise. So Tiffany says, well, you need to tell him something, like give him something. And then she goes on to say, Lewis mentioned earlier to me that you surprised him with another thing. And Tisha says, yeah, like you surprised him with therapy. And Destiny breaks in. She says, you know what? Another surprise like your wedding. And I'm paraphrasing here. And for some reason, after Destiny said like your wedding, now she was referring to Tiffany, but Tisha called Destiny a bit. I didn't understand that. She looked at Destiny and said, bit. Why did she do that? If anyone knows, get in the comments. I have a speculation about why she did it. Maybe this is a moment that was pre-planned that Tisha was supposed to have with uh Tiffany. Because why would she call Destiny a bit? Seems like she would have seen Destiny as being supportive of her. But maybe I'm thinking this was a pre-planned moment. And Tisha felt like that Destiny was taking that moment from her when she said like your wedding. When she even though that like your wedding comment was directed to Tiffany, because you remember Tiffany had a surprise wedding for Lewis. He didn't know he was getting married until he showed up. So Tiffany continues and she says, earlier Lewis mentioned that Marsau mentioned that that Tisha has a confidence issue and that might be the reason that she planned the surprise therapy session is because she has a confidence issue. So Destiny in her confessional was really triggered by this because she believes that Tiffany is not able to read the room because this is an inappropriate time to bring up that Marsau shared this information with Lewis. And I'm paraphrasing so I can move on. So Tisha goes on to confirm to the ladies that she's confident in who she is. Mel keeps supporting Tiffany because she's feeding information to her. Okay, because Destiny said to Tiffany, that's real shady, you saying that she's not confident. And Mel intervenes and says something harsh to Destiny. And then Destiny looks at Tiffany and says, "But didn't you surprise your husband with a whole wedding?" I just think that's real shady. So Tisha turns and she says, "Well, I don't appreciate her saying that, but that seems to be what Tiffany does, is just speaks her mind." And Tiffany goes, "Well, I like being transparent. Don't you guys like to be transparent?" You're not being transparent, Tiffany. You're not transparent. We have not seen anything transparent. What you're good at is trying to bring up other people's business. That's not you being transparent. That is you dipping into other people's business. Mind your business and get off the show. Destiny says, "Well, there's a way to do that with couth." Couth, okay? And then Mel turns to Destiny and says, "Well, why don't you tell Tiffany what she can do?" What do you mean? Why don't you tell her what she can do? And Destiny's like, "I did. There's a way to do it with couth." Asking someone, "Are you staying married for your kids?" Because that's another question that Tiffany asked LaTisha. Destiny says, asking someone, "Are you staying married for your kids?" That's offensive. And Mel says, "Well, what do you recommend she do?" Destiny said, "I just told her she needs to, there's a way to do something with couth." And she said she's just being shady. And then this is where we know that Mel has fed Tiffany information, because Tiffany starts bringing up every city that Destiny has lived in as if she has some tea on Destiny. She starts to say, you know, well, with you're going all over Detroit, Atlanta, and Huntsville, was that shade? And you guys, I want to pause here and say, the rumor is that Destiny might have cheated on Laberic or Cedric, whatever his name is, and that's why they got a divorce. That is the rumor. So whenever Tiffany's bringing up Detroit, Atlanta, and Huntsville, is that one of the cities where the man was, allegedly? Because she says, was that shade? And it must be something to it, because Destiny got really upset, so upset that she got up, and as she was leaving, she made a threat to Miss Tiffany. She said, "You know what? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't throw shade at me like that, because you can get drug in all three of those places." And Mel's like, "Oh, Destiny, don't don't threaten her. There's no need to threaten her." And by the way, you guys, it's not you can get drugged. That's what Destiny said. It's you can get dragged. Okay. The past tense of drag is dragged with an ED, not drug. I don't know why people say drug. Drug is a either a paraphernalia or a pharmaceutical, however you want to put it. So whenever you're trying to say that person can get dragged, it's not they can get drugged. Okay. You can get dragged. So that's what Destiny said. You can get dragged in all three of those places. And then it ends with Destiny exiting out of the club, and we will see where it picks up next week. I hope it picks up right there at that scene, because we see next week that LaTisha is going to surprise Marsau with a renewal of wedding vows, and in part of the um what do you call it? Oh my goodness. In part of the, oh my gosh, the scenes that they have shown for next week, Marsau is saying that he doesn't agree with that and he's not going to do it. So we'll see how that all ends, okay? You guys get in the comments. Let me know what you said about this. I know this was a late evening. I wanted to come on here and get this over with because I have some other things I want to do tomorrow on Sunday for you. And this is it. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I'm going to put up my favorite song. And you guys have a great night. Go to bed. And this is the latest I've ever done a review or commentary. But I wanted to get this Love and Marriage Huntsville out of the way. For those of you who are just coming in, go ahead, rewind it back. It was a great show. Thanks to all of my subscribers. I have to say that. Many blessings to you.